Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Transform Yourself. I'm Helen, and I'm going to guide you through this episode on this beautiful July day. I have to say, I am sweating a bit because the fan was making too much noise on the recording, but luckily it's radio, so you can't see me. I hope you're having an amazing summer. I am definitely enjoying myself. Last weekend, I went to Love Supreme, the musical festival down in Sussex, and I saw one of my heroes, Smokey Robinson, who was absolutely phenomenal. At 85 years old, he just totally rocked it. And tomorrow, I'm going off to my happy place, a little island off the coast of Naples called Ischia. Beautiful volcanic island. Little time for R&R, sitting on the beach, reading a book and just unwinding. So I'm really looking forward to that. Before we get into today's session, I want to give a shout out to my listeners from the far-flung corners of the earth. I've got listeners in Moldova, in Ukraine, in Lima, Peru, in Rome, Buongiorno, in the Netherlands, and in Russia, and of course in the United States and the good old UK. So thank you to my local listeners for tuning in every month, and also to my listeners across the globe. It's lovely to have you with me. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I thought that I would talk about what it's like to be a hypnotherapist. So I called this session A Day in the Life of a Hypnotherapist, but actually I'm going to cover more than just a day. I'm going to tell you all about why I became a hypnotherapist and how I did it, what my sessions are like, and some really interesting case studies from my clients that I've seen in the past. So sit back and enjoy, and we'll have a relaxation session at the end, as always, to help you chill out before you go back to your day or before you go to sleep. So let's get started. In my past life, I was a teacher. I taught English, and I still do that from time to time. I really liked helping young people. The age group that I taught initially was young adults, late teens into adulthood, and then I moved into adult education, teaching grown-ups. And I still do a little bit of that because I love it. But what I found, as most teachers will tell you, that they love the classroom, love working with the students, but it's everything else that's difficult. I found that my job became all about crunching numbers, about data, rather than individual students. And the workload was excessive. So I'd find myself working through weekends, working evenings, and I didn't have a lot of time for myself, and it began to affect my mental health. Now, if you're a teacher sitting there listening to this, I know that you're nodding away at this point because my story is not exceptional. Most teachers experience burnout at some point in their careers. Most teachers work very, very hard and very long hours. And I decided that because it wasn't going to get any better, that I wanted to do something else, especially as I was going into my 50s. I didn't want the same kind of stress, the same kind of burnout, and the same kind of overworking that was challenging my work-life balance. I actually tried a year of counselling training, which I really, really liked. I worked with a company which I believe is no longer in existence in Dartford. It was part of the Dartford NHS Trust. And I worked with some amazing teachers and a great group of people, many of whom went on to be qualified counsellors. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't carry on, so I left it and decided that I would try something else, something in the same vein where I'm helping people, but I'm doing it in a way that I can manage the training and manage the work. So I discovered hypnotherapy. I found a school that looked really good to me. It's called CPHT, Clifton Practice Hypnotherapy, and it is based in Bristol, but there are schools all over the country. And I believe there's also a school in Dublin and a school somewhere in Poland, I believe. And they trained in solution-focused hypnotherapy, which is what I practice. I joined them at their Kent base, and I loved the training. It was one weekend a month. It lasted for 10 months. And in between, I worked with clients. First of all, just doing simple relaxation, and then starting to do full sessions. Got my friends and my family to help me to train because I needed clients every week. And I learned how to manage different kinds of situations that clients present with. For example, phobias like we did last month, and pain management, weight management, anxiety, depression, overwhelm, and all sorts of things, including smoking and vaping as well. And I loved it. It didn't feel like work. And I felt that at the end of 10 months, I actually had my practice, because not only did CPHT train me to be a really good hypnotherapist, but they also helped me with setting up my business, with all of the logistics of setting up a business and being self-employed, which I hadn't really done before. So I felt that when I'd finished my training, that I actually had a viable business. I already had clients, I already had testimonials, and I had a great hypnotherapy community to help me going forward. And I've never looked back. It's a very fulfilling job to have, although, to be honest, it doesn't really feel like a job. It doesn't feel like work because I love it so much. I have got the work-life balance now because I can choose when I want to work and when I need time off. And that's been very beneficial to me, especially when life throws challenges at me and I need some time just to recoup and feel better, just like we all do. There's no difference. And I also get to work with phenomenal clients. I work with clients locally at Evolution Health Clinic on Borstal Hill in Whitstable. So I get to see my clients face to face. And also, I work with clients online. Now, some people might think that working online is not as beneficial as working face to face, but actually, there's no real difference, and there are some benefits to working face to face. For example, for my clients who live too far away to travel, they can still see me online. So I've had clients in Japan, in Australia, in America. And also, sometimes being able to be in your own home and feel safe and comfortable is better for you than coming to a clinic, to a place that perhaps you don't know and might feel a bit anxious about. So there are benefits to online hypnotherapy sessions. And in terms of the efficacy, there's no difference between seeing me face to face or seeing me online. It's all the same. So I like the variety of that. When I work online, I work from home. And when I work face to face, I work at Evolution Clinic in Whitstable. I trained as a hypnotherapist while I was still working. I was still teaching. So it was a matter of working at the weekends and in the evenings to complete the qualification. And it's a full qualification that's an accredited certificate from the awarding body called NCFE. I'm registered with several different governing bodies, the National Council for Hypnotherapy, the Association for Solution-Focused Hypnotherapy, and the Complementary and Natural Health Care Commission as well. These guide my practice, they give me codes of ethics, and they give me requirements for the amount of supervision and continuing professional development I need to complete every year. I'm fully insured, and I also have DBS check, which came from my teaching background, but I continue with it, of course, because it means that I am a safe practitioner, and that's important too. I am a professional. I've worked and trained, and I continue completing training. In fact, I've recently become a hypnotherapy supervisor, which means that now I can support other hypnotherapists in their practice by helping them problem solve, help them work on things like advertising, social media, as well as how to manage a particular case that they've got at the moment. And I really love that as well, because it draws upon my teaching background, and so I feel like it's been a really good fit for me. One of the most joyous things about being a hypnotherapist is seeing my clients get it. They understand the neuroscience which I explained to them, which I've explained to you in episode 1, and seeing them put it into practice, using the mantras in the recordings that I give them. One of my favourite ones, and a favourite one of many of my clients, is I can, I will, knowing that you can do something, but you don't have to do it all at once. You do it in incremental stages. We always work with small steps because the brain doesn't like big steps. It's too much. That all or nothing is not the best way to work with your brain. Small steps lead to bigger steps incrementally. And so seeing my clients understand that and work towards it, and sometimes not even realize that their brains are changing, that they're making these improvements in their lives. And I point it out to them and they realize and they're happy because they know that they're moving in the right direction. It's absolutely phenomenal. And every client is different. Every client has a story, and I treat my clients as individuals and try and work with them within the frameworks that I've trained in, but having some flexibility to allow for that individuality. So I'm going to give you some examples of case studies where I've done that and where I've had great success with my clients. So firstly, I want to talk about a client who came with OCD traits. She had rituals that she completed every morning to avoid getting a headache. She suffered with migraines. And the recordings, the music that I sent her worked to an extent, but I decided I would try something else. We worked on a very bespoke recording. So I asked the client if she would tell me about a happy place, a place where she felt really happy and safe and comfortable. And it turned out to be an imaginary place. It was a beach. And she described the beach to me in great detail. And she told me what her favourite music was. Music that made her feel comfortable and relaxed. And it turned out to be Albatross by Fleetwood Mac. Great song. So I recorded the new recording of her happy place with Fleetwood Mac in the background. And it worked really well because it had specific associations for her. And she was able to use it to stay calm, especially during a hospital visit when she couldn't practice her rituals because she didn't have access to the place where she did the rituals. And in fact, this was the turning point when she was able to, first of all, complete the rituals in her head, because the brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. And so if she imagined completing the rituals in her head, the brain thought she was actually doing them. But then she realized, because she was doing them in her head, that she actually didn't need to do the rituals, that they didn't have an impact at all on her migraines. But what did have an impact on her migraines was the relaxation, was the positive thinking, the good sleep that she was getting as a result of listening to the recording and doing the homework, looking for good things in her life every day. And so gradually she started to stop doing the rituals. And by the end of our sessions, she'd managed to stop around 30 rituals that she'd been doing, which meant that she had freedom that she didn't have before. Now, from time to time, she still felt the need to complete a ritual, and she had to talk herself out of it. Because as we know from episode 1, our primitive brain is obsessive. and it wants to keep us alive. And for her, those rituals kept her alive. So she still had to work against her amygdala by asking it to leave her alone, distracting it by doing something else, by shifting the thought process or movement or listening to music or listening to the recording. But what it did, it gave her a kickstart in that process. And she's been able to manage the desire to do the rituals a lot better than before she came to see me. And I consider that a great success. OCD is something that I want to talk about in a future session. It's not something that is going to go completely away with hypnotherapy, but it's going to become more manageable with hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is not always a cure. Often it's giving you coping techniques, ways to manage your behaviours, your thoughts, your feelings, so that you can live a better life. But it requires constant work. Although the work is very simple, listening to the recording at night and making a note of 2 or 3 good things that have happened every day. And I recommend to my clients that they write them down because the muscle memory also helps with that process. I don't diagnose my clients. If they have a diagnosis, I'm happy for them to share it with me. But I'm not in the business of diagnosis because I'm not a medical professional. Even with OCD, the client I mentioned earlier, she self-declared as OCD. I didn't label it as such. I've had many successes with phobias, and actually it's one of my favourite modalities to use. I've helped clients with spider phobias. I had a client who was going to Australia and was really worried about the big ones that they have out there. And I've spoken to you about my own spider phobia, so I was able to help her and explain to her what happens when she goes through the phobia treatment. And all she wanted to do was not to panic, to be able to stay calm and to have someone come and remove the spider. That's what she wanted. And she was able to accomplish that. And so we work on what the client wants to achieve rather than what I think the client needs to achieve. It's not my place to decide what the client needs or wants. The client tells me. I've also had clients who were afraid of flying, and I've helped them get past that. One particular example was a young man who was studying A-levels, and he'd got a big family wedding planned overseas and was absolutely terrified of getting on the plane. And it had evolved into health anxieties as well. So instead of jumping right into the phobia treatment, we worked on the generalised health anxiety until after one session he said to me, "Helen, when are we going to do the flying phobia treatments?" So that told me that he was ready. Again, I don't tell my clients when they're ready. They tell me because we're training their brains and they know themselves the best. So we did the phobia treatment. And then I didn't hear from this client for a while until one day I got a WhatsApp message, and it was a photograph of my client sitting on a plane drinking a glass of bubbly. And he thanked me. He was off to Miami, and he said that it had changed his life because his family travelled a lot and he was now able to join them, which meant that he could enjoy his life so much more than he had previously, without fear and without worry. And it's lovely when I get those messages from clients who worry about travel, whether it's flying. I had a client who worried about not being able to find a toilet, a client who was afraid of sleeping in a different room, in a hotel room, rather than her own room. And I get messages back saying, I did it. I did it. I was able to sleep in the hotel without fear. I was able to fly on the aeroplane. I was able to find toilets and stop worrying about it. And all of these things make me smile and make me feel that what I'm doing is worthwhile. And it's a great joy to see people living their best lives and their worlds opening up to all different possibilities. Now, it doesn't always work. I have had clients who I've not been able to help for a variety of reasons. I've had clients who don't want to do the work. They don't want to write down what's been good. They find reasons not to listen to the recording, and then they don't improve. And it's those clients that I see drift away from me because they don't believe that it's going to work, or they're not willing to be consistent. I had a client who was going to Slimming World and she wanted to lose weight, and she came to me for help. I suggested that in the evening, which was her trouble time, to sit in a different chair in the living room, because that gives her a different worldview and her brain is working on the different worldview rather than whether she should eat a biscuit. She came back to me and she said she'd tried it and it didn't work. And I asked her how many times she'd tried it in the week, and she said once. It takes more than once for your brain to pick up these messages that are going to change the neural pathways. So I've not always succeeded, and I've not always had clients who want to stay with me after the initial consultation where I explain the neuroscience. And that's okay. It's not for everybody. Sometimes different modalities work better. And I would never suggest that my therapy is the best therapy and the only therapy that a client can use to improve their lives. And I do want to say that personally, hypnotherapy has changed my life, not just because I have a new career, but because it's helped me get control of chronic anxiety that I've struggled with for most of my life. I would worry about the little things all the time, and now I don't worry about them so much. I still have stress in my life, and when I do have stresses, I just take a step back and I think about what I would tell a client who had come to see me feeling the way that I do. And then I do what I would advise my client, because I know it works. I practice what I preach, and it's made a significant difference to my mental health. I have had some clients who've expressed interest in training to be hypnotherapists after they've worked with me, which is the biggest compliment to solution-focused hypnotherapy. It is gentle and positive, and it's 10 months of training at the weekends with seeing clients in between. You do have to write a big portfolio, but it's very manageable because you get all the support that you need within the sessions. If you are interested in training to be a solution-focused hypnotherapy, please do get in touch with me, and I will point you to the training school that's closest to you and to the person who runs it, so that you can talk to them and see if it's right for you. It's a great practice, it's very rewarding, and it is life-changing, as I can definitely attest to. Now it's time for trance, for our relaxation. And I thought we might do something related to the heat at the moment, and do something that will help you be cool and relaxed, rather than being hot and sweaty, which interferes with our sleep habits. So find yourself a comfortable position, wherever that might be, in your house or in your office, somewhere quiet where you won't be disturbed. Turn your phone off, put it on Do Not Disturb rather than vibrate, so that nothing's going to interfere with your relaxation. You might want to pause the recording just so that you can get yourself into a lovely state, and then when you're ready, we can begin. Find a comfortable position now, whether you're sitting or lying down. Take a moment to adjust your body so that you're completely at ease, with no tension anywhere. Feel the muscles in your body, each one at a time, from your legs, your toes, your feet, all the way up your thighs, to your stomach, to your torso, to your shoulders, arms and fingers, making sure that there's absolutely no stress or tension anywhere. Gently close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and exhale fully, releasing any tightness, any stress, any strain you may be feeling. Take another deep breath in, noticing how cool and refreshing the air feels as it enters your body. And as you exhale, let go of any unnecessary heat or discomfort. Imagine the tension in your body leaving with every breath you release. Let your body begin to settle now into this peaceful, calm state. With each breath, you'll feel yourself drifting deeper into relaxation, just like a leaf floating on a stream. Now let's begin to relax your body from head to toe. Start by bringing your awareness to your feet. Just notice how your feet feel and allow any tension in your feet to gently dissolve. Let them feel completely relaxed, soft and calm. With your next breath in, imagine a cool, refreshing sensation starting at your toes, like the feeling of soft, cool sand beneath you on a breezy day. Let this coolness spread across your feet, through your toes, and into the soles of your feet. Allow any heat, any tension to simply melt away. As you exhale, feel the coolness slowly rise up through your ankles and calves. Imagine the cool breeze gently sweeping over your legs, relaxing each muscle one by one, bringing ease and comfort. Every time you exhale, release a little more tension, allowing your legs to become heavy and deeply relaxed. Let this cool, soothing sensation continue to rise into your knees and then into your thighs. As this cooling feeling spreads further up your legs, feel your muscles becoming softer, more relaxed, letting go of any heat or tightness. Allow your legs to feel completely calm now. Now bring your awareness to your hips and lower back. As you breathe in, imagine the coolness flowing into this area, releasing any discomfort, any stiffness. Let the muscles in your lower back soften, and let the cooling sensation expand through your hips, soothing, relaxing, and comforting. Now focus your attention on your abdomen and chest. With each breath, allow your belly to soften, your chest to relax. Imagine that the cool breeze is gently caressing your abdomen, bringing a soothing sensation that moves all the way up to your ribcage. As you breathe deeply, imagine each breath filling your body with the same refreshing cool air. And with each exhale, release any warmth or heaviness that is left behind. Let that coolness move into your shoulders now. Imagine the coolness as a light touch that eases the muscles in your shoulders, your neck, and your upper back. Feel that coolness spreading down your arms from your shoulders to your elbows, all the way down to your wrists and fingertips. With each exhale, imagine you're releasing any tension in your arms, any heat, any pressure. Your arms are becoming lighter, softer, and cooler. They feel completely relaxed. Now imagine this cooling sensation rising up your neck and into your head. As the cool breeze reaches the top of your head, feel it sweeping across your scalp, soothing any tightness, any stress. Let it flow down across your face, over your forehead, and around your eyes. Feel your jaw softening, your cheeks relaxing. Your entire body is becoming completely cool, light, and free from tension. Each muscle is relaxed, calm, and cool. Now let's take this relaxation even deeper by imagining a peaceful, serene place. Picture yourself standing in a calm, cooling environment, perhaps a quiet forest with a gentle breeze, or by the edge of a clear, cool lake. The air here is fresh, and it feels perfect. Feel the breeze gently moving around you, cooling your skin, soothing your muscles, and calming your mind. With every breath you take, drawing in the coolness of this peaceful place, and with every exhale, you feel more and more at ease. Allow your mind to become as clear and calm as the water in the lake. So still, so peaceful. Picture this cool environment surrounding you, bathing you in a soft, refreshing temperature that feels just right. Neither too hot nor too cold. With every breath, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the calmness of this place. The air around you is cool, but not cold. It's the perfect balance, giving you comfort, peace, and a sense of serenity. As your body relaxes, let your mind follow suit. Imagine that your thoughts are like leaves floating down a stream as they pass by. They become cooler, softer, and lighter. Each thought that comes into your mind is gently cooled by the breeze. Any remaining mental tension, any worries or concerns simply melt away like ice on a warm day. Your thoughts become clear and calm, and you are filled only with peace. Now take a moment to notice how relaxed and balanced you feel. Your body is cool, calm, and completely at ease. Your mind is peaceful, like a still lake, perfectly clear and serene. Remember that this sense of coolness and calmness is always available to you. Whenever you feel the need to cool down, relax, or simply regain a sense of balance, all you need to do is close your eyes and breathe deeply. With each breath, you can bring yourself back to this peaceful state where your body is cool and relaxed. Your mind is clear and calm, and you feel completely at ease. As we continue with this relaxation, take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. With each breath, you begin to relax again your body becoming more and more at ease, and your mind quieter. Now I want you to imagine yourself standing on the edge of a beautiful, still lake. The water is perfectly calm, so clear that you can see straight through to the bottom. The sky above is wide and peaceful, with just a few gentle clouds drifting lazily by. As you stand there, notice the serenity of this place. Everything around you is still, peaceful and quiet. And as you look out across the water, you realize that it reflects everything around it, perfectly mirroring the calmness of the sky. But now, imagine that a small breeze begins to stir the surface of the lake. Just a light breeze, the kind that causes gentle ripples to form on the water. The calm surface starts to shift, but it's not disruptive, just a slight disturbance that fades as quickly as it appeared. Then imagine that the breeze begins to pick up, and those ripples on the water grow a little larger, a little faster. Maybe some small waves start to form, and you notice that the once still lake is becoming a little choppy. This, you realize, is how irritability feels, like the surface of the lake becoming disturbed when we feel a little bit too hot and a little more impatient. The small waves are those little irritations, those frustrations, the thoughts that start to stir inside you. But now, notice something important. As the waves move on the surface of the lake, just beneath the surface, everything is still. Beneath those ripples, the water remains calm and undisturbed, untouched by this turbulence above. Just like the depths of the lake, beneath your irritation, there is a deep sense of calmness, part of you that remains unaffected by the waves. You don't have to let the surface movements control you. You have access to that depth of calm whenever you choose to go there. As you stand by the lake, take a deep breath. Imagine yourself sinking into the depths of the water. With every breath, you feel yourself moving deeper and deeper into the calm, cool stillness beneath the surface. The waves on the surface don't bother you anymore, because you are now anchored in the deep, quiet part of the lake. Here there is no turbulence, no agitation, just peace, stillness and clarity. Whenever you begin to feel the irritation stirring inside you, you can return to this peaceful place, the depth of the lake, when nothing can disturb you, nothing can spoil your tranquility. The waves may come, the surface may ripple, but the deeper you go, the more you find that the calm remains unchanged. And as you stand there, deep in the stillness of the lake, remind yourself that you have the power to choose calmness. Just like the water beneath the surface, you have that deep well of peace within you. You can always return to it at any moment. No matter what happens, no matter what surfaces in your mind you can sink deeper and deeper into your own stillness. You don't have to react to every ripple on the surface. Choose to stay anchored in the peace that's always available to you. Now, take a final deep breath, feeling that calmness, that stillness, that coolness within you. With each breath, you feel more connected to the deep, quiet part of yourself. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to bring your awareness back to the present, knowing that you can carry this sense of calm with you, ready to return whenever you need. If you're going to return to your day, slowly open your eyes and move your fingers and get ready to go back to work, feeling just that little bit calmer and cooler. If it's now time for you to sleep, roll over, keep your eyes closed, and let yourself drift into the best sleep of your life so that you wake up refreshed and relaxed in the morning. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Transform Yourself. Until next time, take care.
Free audio post-production by Alphonic.com.